that yesterday during the halftime show, he gave his live performance, and I saw a bunch of discussion back and forth from everyone, and they had takes everything from this is the worst halftime show ever to people saying this was subtle, social justice conscious art that was actually a win. I would be interested to know what you guys thought.
I hated it.
You hated it.
Yeah, I thought it was bad.
Okay.
And the reason why I thought it was bad is I don't think that Kendrick Lamar has the juice to be entertaining to everybody. Right?
That is, I mean, the number one take seemed to be that, you know, even when they had rap before, it was somebody like Dr. Dre who has powerhouse level stardom.
So like I said, hey, you should have Metallica, right? And I've said this multiple times. Metallica's never done it. They're the biggest. They're one of the biggest bands in human history, like ever at all, right? Crossing genres. Whether you're into metal or not, there are multiple Metallica songs that almost everybody in the United States knows. Like they're just become a part of pop culture. So I said have Metallica, and a lot of my All That Remains fans and metal fans, because I have a lot of followers that are metal fans, they'll hit back with it should be Slayer, it should be a Testament, it should be blah blah blah, and they're like no Five Finger Death Punch. And while I respect that what they're saying is they're saying I really like these bands and I think these bands should get more attention, and I respect that. My point in saying Metallica is Metallica's not just a metal band. They're part of American culture now. It would be like if we said, let's get Van Halen, right? So I know that obviously Van Halen, you know, but God rest his soul and everything. But like Van Halen transcended rock. They were an American. They were the quintessential American band for 30 years, you know. And I still think there are very few bands that encapsulate American rock and roll the way Van Halen does. So. And they're like my favorite band ever. Yeah. Well, one of my favorite bands ever, and I love everything about them. But the point being, I appreciate that there are people that are like, I would like to see this thing or this band more. But the reason I say Metallica is because they transcend, and I don't think that Kendrick Lamar does that.
It's like when you mentioned Slayer. It's like we went around the table one time, and you were like, "What is everybody's favorite Slayer song?" I'm like, the only one I know is Raining Blood.
Yeah,
with a lot of people, I'm sure that's
and even Rain in Blood, most people only know dun 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 na 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 dun 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 na 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 na. And if you get to the next part, is like as soon as the song starts, when it gets into the fast part, no one knows what it is.
With a lot of those songs, people knew them in my generation because they were in skate videos. So that's how you came to understand.
And also the riff in Rain in Blood, it is super memorable, right? Dun 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 na 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 na.
One of the critiques that they had of the performance was that the audio mix was bad, that it was really okay. So I thought it was like, okay, so I was listening to it with like captions on because I listen to everything with captions on. So I have to because I'm deaf in one ear. It was low and it was garbled in a lot of ways, but I guess to me, when I'm watching the halftime show most of the time,
audio was bad, but the audio is usually bad.
But when I'm watching the halftime show, I'm actually, ironically enough, more paying attention to the visuals that I'm seeing there, because conservatives in these days are looking for satanic imagery in literally everything when they watch these shows, which I did not see anything of, which is became a line of contention because a lot of people were having a back and forth as to the red, white, and blue imagery was pro-America. I don't really think that was necessarily true. I think that there's plenty of critiques, which I will go through some of them here in a little bit about, it's a critique of the system. It's the critique of how African Americans have been treated in the country, which is fine, because what I think about is like, this is what I think of when I thought of like the term woke in 2010 to 2012, which was socially conscious art that had a focus on it. And in this case, I think the critique is mostly that it just seemed very the critique seemed very muddled and nobody really knew what to make of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You didn't give me your thoughts on it yet.
I mean, like, audio mix definitely, like, I don't know. It seems like they were having technical difficulties or something. Like a whole they
have to set the thing up in like 10 seconds.
Yeah, live production sucks in general, especially when you have that amount of time to do it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't necessarily say it's bad just for that. I mean, I thought it was a good performance.
I mean, he did literally like dunk on Drake and then bring out both of his exes, which is next level petty.
The only people that know any of that are people that are deep in the weeds and deep in the lore. Yeah. The American people don't know that.
They got a 20 here from Pop Culture Junkie. Says, having produced and directed a lot of live television, I thought the pregame and the game itself was extremely well done with virtually no mistakes. The halftime show put me to sleep. Yeah, that seemed to be the number one take from a lot of people. Also, then I did see a lot of people. It turned in again. I'm basing this on you're following along on X, which is always a shit show. But then it devolved into people asking about like, well, what's the point of rap music and is rap even music? Which I always kind of cringe at just a little bit.
Yeah, that's like the okay, calm down, Tipper Gore.
Well, I mean, or Ben Shapiro, like he doesn't do the rap music. And I love a lot of rap, but the rap that I'm into is the stuff that was the West Coast.
Ice Cube,
Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg. I mean, nowadays it's considered classics.
Death Row Records.
Yeah, Death Row Records. But Eminem, it's all like old. Like it's literally. Like it would be considered classic.
I mean,
rock
but those
now.
are that's so sad. That's sad. If I went
90s clothing is vintage now.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go through some of the takes here. So CJ Pearson says, I know I can't be the only one who enjoyed the halftime show, right? It was patriotic, fun, and surprisingly not woke at all.
Brother.
And then Amala Akpanobi. Well, I like this. She says, I love the halftime show. I was at a bar where hundreds of people were screaming the lyrics, and every bar down the block had a TV available, had the same thing going on. America knows Kendrick. I'm not sure what everyone else is talking about. She then says, I will unpack the halftime show on my channel today so we can go over some of the messaging and symbolism. So it wasn't lost on her that there was symbolism to be featured in there. And if you guys don't know, these were some of the critiques. If you didn't watch it, it opens with Uncle Sam, literally played by Samuel L. Jackson. It says, so this was some of the critiques of what was done. Thank you.
Ooh, new song.
Sadly, Mary is not here to like her suitcase. Phil doesn't like this one. It's very sad. Okay. So these were some. It says Samuel L. Jackson playing Uncle Sam, aka his character from Django Unchained. Samuel L. Jackson warning Kendrick to play the game white America wants us to play and not be ghetto. The Squid Game stage, which symbolizes the rich killing the poor. Actually, it was a PlayStation stage, if I remember correctly, which just seems like soulless product placement, but that's just me. The dancers in red, white, and blue representing the American flag, where he then literally walks down the middle of it, a divided flag, if you saw the imagery. The stage is also being a prison yard where his black performers harmonized while he rapped, protecting black women like Serena after the disrespect from Drake. I mean, I don't think that was about protecting her. I think it was about slapping him down. I think that was nothing more than pro-level pettiness, which I can appreciate. And once again reminding Drake and America that they're not like us. There's a lot of critiques that people went through, and I think the point is that art, when it's done well, can be interpreted a lot of different ways. But then it becomes a question of, was it to be interpreted a bunch of different ways, or was it just a bad job of getting your message across to the audience? I also wonder how much people actually believe in deep messaging about the resistance, which he's kind of signaling at the beginning of this, when he says the revolution will be televised, when you're literally on the Super Bowl. It's very hard to be like you're against the machine when you're literally part of the machine.
The left has no capacity, or left-leaning things have no capacity. They have no idea how to act when they're in control, which is exactly why you hear things like the revolution is eternal when it comes to like socialist government and stuff. They're like, oh, it's like they're counter-revolutionary forces, right? Yeah. If they're fighting against the government of Cuba, they were counter-revolutionaries. If you're fighting, if you're against the Chinese Communist Party, then you're counter-revolutionary. But how can you be the revolution when you're in control? The left has no ability to create a narrative where they're actually in control. So they that's part of the reason why there's so much cognitive dissonance when it comes to like leftists in power. They don't know how to imagine themselves in a situation of power, so they have to say things that just don't make sense.
There's a 20 here from Just Cause I'm Free. Says, not really a fan of Kendrick's. I've heard the name but never really listened to him, but I'm 100% for the public shaming of fans of the playground on the part. Oh yeah, I think he's talking about pedophiles.
Well, yeah, I mean
Yes.
that's
That's what the right seemed to glom onto in this. Is the left looked at it as a social protest focused around race relations, and the right took to his criticisms of Drake as condemnation of pedophilia.
the left. Well, that is the lens that the left sees everything through. Though they don't have the ability to see things in a different dynamic. It's always the same.
I saw this one. It says, I'm pretty sure the message in this show was that Satan lost and the children will no longer be harmed. It was an overall message to let satanic Hollywood elites know their time is up and the game is over. I did not get that at all. I think that's...
I got the woke thing.
Yeah. Kendrick literally protested and taunted America in front of the president during America's biggest sporting event. That's more what I took from it. But I guess that's kind of the point of art, right? Is that you can see it two different ways. And this was also something that I was noticing in some of the rah-rah commercials that were being done. There was a couple of them there that were just vague talks of patriotism related to Jeep. And I'm like, but that's the thing. I miss those days when back in the day when Hollywood would virtue signal, it would be virtue signaling for all in the most vague and ineffective way possible.
Yeah.
But at least it was all encompassing. That is not what I saw here, at least not from this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was what I took away from it. What you said, was it Spike Cohen's take that you said you liked?
Yeah, he just was he was funny about the way that he said he didn't watch it, which is fine. You know, I mean, if you don't want to watch it, that's fine. And like you'd mentioned, it's kind of like
I rolled my eyes.
Yeah,
they want to engage with it without actually engaging with it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I feel like if you're a person that comments on culture or you know, if you're on the internet as a commenter or whatever, you're kind of obligated to at least have a take on things. I feel like most people are kind of obligated. So if that's his take, fine. The thing that I like the most about it is I liked his jeans. I like the fact that he had kind of bell bottoms.
Are you kidding me?
In fact, if you go and you look at early All That Remains videos, like the first 6 or so All That Remains videos, I'm wearing a very similar pair of bell-bottom jeans.
I looked at that and I said, the real question is, are those bell bottoms or are those
are bell bottoms?
Are those boot cut? Or are they boot bottoms?
Well,
they were like
I mean,
halfway between the two.
That's the same thing. Bell bottom, boot cut, whatever. Because boot cut was essentially just a little bit of a flare so you can slide your boots in.
These were not a little bit of a flare.
Those were bell bottoms.
There was a lot of flare there.
They were.
I think my favorite take that I saw was the part where he's really taunting Drake and walking around like this. He said it's real Bugs Bunny energy, like he's about to turn a rifle around on Elmer Fudd. That made me laugh. It's like that's the type of commentary I wish I was capable of, because as soon as he said it, it made perfect sense to me, but I would have never been able to come up with that. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.